Welcome back to Share the Pants. Today I'm super excited because we're getting into some listener questions. Something I'm really excited about. Something I'm probably most excited about to do on this podcast.
Me too.
To get into what's going on in your lives. And yeah.
You know, when I was little, I wanted to have like a Dear Abby column. That was like one of my dreams. And this feels like that.
Yeah.
Dear Joel and Nicole.
That's right. So she's the dating coach. So you'll get some real professional advice from her end. And you'll get me, who's just out there in the world seeing things the way I see them.
Yeah, which is... Joel has like the best radar for douchebags and things that are not going to end well. So I think your opinion is just as valuable, babe.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, so today our first question is going to be from Mackenzie in actually the city we live in, Edmond, Oklahoma, which is pretty crazy.
Totally crazy.
Very
we do
cool.
not know Mackenzie, and it's our first listener question, and it happens to come from our own city. It's a hometown question. I love it.
That's right.
So Mackenzie asks, is 9 years too long to be waiting for a proposal? And then she kind of has a second question here. Am I wasting my 20s? Now, Mackenzie was generous enough to write us some more context for her question to fill us in on her love life and what's going on. So I'm going to read you what she wrote. She says, my boyfriend and I have been together since we were 19. I'm about to be 28 this year, and we moved in together last year. We've spoken briefly throughout the years about marriage. His parents are divorced and remarried a few times while growing up. When we've discussed why an engagement hasn't happened yet, his answer is that he wants me to be happy with my job. I started a new job and I love it. I'm starting a program to finish my SLP degree. It's been maybe 4 months, but in the back of my head, I'm like, well, I've made all these changes that he asked for, right? And I don't want to bring the topic back up. I don't want to pressure or beg someone to propose to me. It does hurt that I listened to him, made the changes, and he hasn't brought it back up. There has to be another reason, and I don't want to wait another 9 years, LOL. Great question, Mackenzie. Thank you so much for writing in. Joel, what do you think about this?
Yeah, well, generally 9 years, my instant reaction to 9 years is like, what?
Too long.
Yeah, too long, way too long. You should know by now whether you want to get married or not. So there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, if we were just looking at is 9 years too long, if that was the only thing we had, easy. We'd both be like, too long. And at the same time, there is always an exception to the rule, right? There's always like the outliers where 9 years is the perfect amount of time. Right. But I would say, generally speaking, way too long.
Yeah. Everyone's different. Not the timelines are different for everyone. That's for sure. But, in the context that you're young, 28 right now.
Right.
Does change.
It does change
things.
It does.
Makes it to where that's a more reasonable timeline.
Yeah. I don't really think anybody should be getting married. I mean, I think some people know themselves really well and are already grounded in who they are in their 20s, but most people aren't. Most people, when you're in your 20s and you don't know it when you're in your 20s, you see it when you're like 32, 35, like, I didn't know shit. I didn't really even have a full grasp on who I am, what I want. You're still developing. I can't remember when your brain actually is fully formed.
I think it's 25.
Yeah. And 28's a really interesting year in like spiritual terms and astrological terms. Something happened for everybody. Like 28's usually a big year, and it's usually a life-changing year for a lot of people. So I think this is a pivotal time for Mackenzie, for you to be asking this question. And I don't think, like, just to, answer your second question, am I wasting my 20s? I would say no, because
everything's a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
So I don't think wasting your 20s is the right way to put it.
No. And I think that, as long as you take everything that you learned from this relationship with you, if it ends, right? Like, we're not here to tell you to break up with this guy or not, but
right. Us in our 40s, we can tell you that we look back at any of those times as like, oh, well, I learned a lot.
I learned so much,
from that, and I am who I am because of
those
what happened through these years, no matter what you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think 28 is a pivotal year, and I think when you move into 29, 30, like, you're gonna it's going to be a totally different ball game. And so this is a potent time to be asking this question, I think. And more will be revealed. Like, you'll know. You'll either relate to that part or not, but 28 is a potent year, just FYI.
Right.
One of the things I wanted to talk about is, the red flag here for me is the part where when you asked him, why it hasn't happened yet, and he puts it on her. He puts it on you of like, well, I want you to be happy in your job before we get married.
Which, first of all, I hate that. This isn't having kids. Like, that's a much better answer for having kids.
Agreed.
Is like, okay, we need to be where we want to be financially in our careers. Fine. I totally, get that. But for marriage, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make a difference on whether you're renting an apartment or buying a house or whatever you're doing. Like,
especially because you guys live together now.
Right.
So he's already taken that step. And I understand, like, I think there's probably a very big divide on people that think you should absolutely live together before you get married, and people who think you should not, right?
Yeah, I'm really glad you're doing that. That's for sure. Big advocate of you need to live together because there's going to be things that come up that you got to see if you can work through them before you get married, and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize this about this person.
Yeah, and I could make a case for either thing. Like, I have lived with men and regretted it. I lived with Joel. We lived together before we got engaged, and that was a really good decision on our part. So I think it can go either way. Part of the reason we did move in together, though, is because that was a deal breaker.
I felt
for
strongly.
Joel. He felt really strongly about it, and I didn't feel as strongly. So I let him have his way on that one. And he's let me have my way on plenty of things too. We do that for each other. But I love what you said, Joel. I love that. Like, why should that matter? I don't know. I don't understand that either. But I think the bigger thing is, like, he's putting it on you and not on why he's not ready. That, to me, is a red flag. That's blaming. I feel like it's like kicking the can down the road. Like, oh, okay, well, in order to do this, you have to, it's like dangling a carrot. Like, you have to do this thing first. Yeah. And then you've done it, and the carrot seems to have moved. And that's what carrot dangling is. Right. Somebody will just dangle the carrot and you'll try to catch it and they back up and dangle it some more. Yeah. And before you know it, I think you're smart to not want to waste another 9 years. I don't think you would do that, to be honest. Right. I don't think anybody would waste 18 years. Maybe. Maybe.
It does happen.
It does happen. But, I think if you're asking this question, Mackenzie, you're smart enough to not wait another 9 years. Yeah. And I think that's something you should maybe decide pretty soon.
But it sounds like to me that it hasn't been brought up since she got the new job. And
it's been about 4 months.
Yeah, she loves her new job.
But what do you think? Like, is 4 months enough? If that was the real reason, you think he would have proposed within the 4 months? Like,
he could be working on getting a ring right now. He could be saving up, or he could be planning a proposal. Who knows? But I'm a huge advocate for talking about getting married before a proposal. And so, like, bringing it back up, it sounds like it's been at least 6 months.
Yeah, not to bring it back up.
Since you've talked about it, and you have to bring it back up.
Yeah, that makes sense. See, and I'm more in the mindset of, like, maybe it would be a total surprise, or...
It could be.
But,
That's possible. But, like, for me, I don't want to just put myself out there and get down on one knee and get shot down.
Nope.
Like, I think our lives, we need to, we should know. I feel like you should know whether you want to get married or not before proposing.
I agree. And still, even no matter what he's up to, like, I think still, Mackenzie, the thing that you should be cautious about is if he's going to blame you and set goals for you in order to give you what you want before you get married, he's going to do that behavior inside a marriage. So do you want that? Like, to me, that's a red flag to me. I don't want to be with someone who blames me. I don't want to be with someone long-term. I don't want to have a life with someone who's going to dangle that carrot and keep moving the mile marker. Like, that would be so stressful. And she says, it hurts that I listened, I made the changes, and he still hasn't brought it up. Yeah. And that pain will continue because in some way he's conditioning you to do that.
And you shouldn't feel like you're pressuring him or begging him. Like,
No girl wants to feel that way.
I just mean you shouldn't feel like that just by asking him again.
Oh, yeah.
Like bringing it up again is not
pressuring.
It's not doing that.
It's just a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, so Joel, you think she should ask? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. So Mackenzie,
Yeah.
first step, ask him. And if I were you, I might actually spend some time in my journal or in thought, however you like to process things, and really get curious about what you want to ask him. What are you actually curious about? Because the mistake a lot of people make is they come in hot with their partner. Like, you said, if I did this, then this was going to happen, kind of and that can be pressuring. That can be, kind of like holding his feet to the fire. And it sounds like you don't want to do that. But asking him a genuine curiosity is not pressure. And then step 2, also, if I were you, I would decide in my own mind what a deadline is for making a decision of if I'm going to stay in this relationship or I'm going to go. Like, if you're not ready to take any, if you're not ready to ask him or you're not ready to take any action, how long are you willing to wait? And I would get clear on that if I were you, and I would try to stick to it, which doesn't mean when that deadline happens, you have to do something, but at least you're like, okay, I'm going to check back in with myself about this.
Yeah.
Another thing I would strongly recommend is think about, have you seen this pattern of him blaming you, setting up, goals for you to achieve in order to get what you want? Is this a one-time thing that's only on this topic, or has he done this to you before? And if he's done it to you on other topics, like, girl, I'm sorry, but get the fuck out of there. And then the other thing I think too, like one of the things you said that we didn't address in telling us your story is that he has parents who have been divorced and remarried a few different times. And so, rather than saying, I've watched my parents get divorced and remarried and I'm scared of marriage, I'm not sure if I want marriage, it sounds like instead of really owning his stuff, he's just deflecting it onto you. And that concerns me.
Yeah, me too. I agree. Because we came from 2 different backgrounds when it comes to that. My parents were married until my dad died, and
my mom was barely married. I mean, my mom got divorced, when I was an infant, and then she remarried one more time when I was in middle school, but not for very long. So she's been a single, I had a single mom pretty much my whole life. And so one of us comes from a broken home and one of us doesn't, but neither one of us had concerns that would have prevented us from marrying our person.
Right. Because the way I look at it is you learn your lessons from those relationships.
Yeah.
That's not your relationship. That's not who you are. You can take what you want to take from that. I took plenty of the negatives from my parents' relationship, and I was like, I never want to act the way my dad acted towards my mom a lot of the time. And and I'm
so grateful that you did that because,
So whether you learn it from a positive role model, or you learn, and you can
learn
do
what
both.
not to do.
Learn what to do, and in my case, I saw both. I got examples of both ways. Mm-hmm. But just take whatever lessons you can from that.
Yeah.
And again, people are different, and it sounds like he's got some shit he needs to work out.
Yeah.
With a therapist.
Exactly.
About those issues.
Yeah. It does sound like he has some work to do, but that's not your work to do.
No.
And so you get to decide how long you're willing to give him on that. Is he even willing to look at his own stuff? Is he willing to do the work to heal? And, I think that's one of the things that took me a really long time to make a non-negotiable, that I wish that at your age, I wish I had known this, that if someone isn't willing to look at themselves and do their own work, they're not a good partner. They're not a healthy partner. And so for a long-term lasting marriage, and I imagine if you want to get married, it's not just because you want a wedding day, it's because you want the real thing. You want a real healthy, beautiful, long marriage, which we want that for you too, if that's what you want. Yep. And you got to pick the right partner to get to have that. Right. And that partner has to be willing to own their shit and work through their shit.
Right.
So,
and hopefully you're in love, y'all are in love, and that solves a lot of, a lot of these other issues. If it's just strictly, are we going to get married or not, problem.
right. But I mean, I think if somebody's dragging their feet, usually that's not the only thing on board. And I am a big believer that love is not enough. Love cannot.
Right.
It does not.
I agree, but it's a
all.
huge benefit.
It is a huge benefit. But anybody can love you. Not everybody's going to respect you, care for you, provide for you, make your life easier and more peaceful rather than, causing a bunch of pain along the way.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, all that is being truly in love.
True.
If you act like that towards your partner, you should be acting like that towards your partner.
Well,
if you're truly in love.
I agree, but that is not reality.
Yeah, right.
That's the fairy tale version of love, which we have, and I'm so grateful we have it. So it's easy for us to be like, well, if somebody really loves you, they'll treat you right. But yeah. I grew up with people who really loved me, who treated me like fucking shit, and then I dated them. So I have a slightly different perspective on that one. Well, Mackenzie, thanks so much for your question, and we can't wait to do this again.
Yeah.
So
give us an update. Go back to that same link, and if we'd love to hear what happened.
Yes, we would love to hear what happened. So keep us updated, and for the rest of you, send in your questions, and we will.
And just one final thing to add: you're not wasting your 20s.
No.
I just want to reiterate that.
Yeah.
Strongly. I agree with Nicole on set a timeline, set a date, and again, you don't have to be strict about it, but at least it gives you something to
a container to work with.
Right.
Yeah. I'm willing to give it this much more time, but not forever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
High five, Joel.
Bye.